Hello, sports fans. We are ready for the championship games in the league where they play for pay. And let's get right to it. Happy Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Hope you guys are having a spectacular holiday weekend. Let's get to the games. They were wild and woolly over the weekend. Let's start in the AFC where the New England Patriots are home, -9 against the Jacksonville Jaguars. New England, as usual, takes care of business. I want to say a couple things about Tennessee. Tennessee had a very nice year. Made the playoffs. Big comeback win against Kansas City. Tennessee was not quite ready to go into New England and win. And that's not an insult to Tennessee. That's not an insult to the Titans. Very few teams are ready to tangle with New England. So Tennessee, very nice step up. I know they're looking for a new coach now. The future is bright for the Titans. They've come a long way. They weren't quite ready to tangle with New England just yet. How about the Jacksonville Jaguars? Go into Pittsburgh and beat the Steelers again. The Steelers had 4 losses this year, 2 to Jacksonville, both in Pittsburgh. What a spectacular, great win by the Jacksonville Jaguar franchise. They've been just terrible the last 10 years. They won 3 games last year. We've all been making fun of Bortles. They've been the laughingstock of the league with the Browns. And here they are in the AFC Championship game, and they found a way to beat Pittsburgh despite their defense not playing great. The Steelers' offense had their way with Jacksonville most of the day. I know the Steelers turned the ball over a couple times. Jacksonville ran one back. But the Steelers put up 42 points at home. You figure you put up 42 points at home, you're going to win. But the Jacksonville offense was awesome yesterday, doing whatever they wanted against Pittsburgh, pushing the Steelers around in their own building. What a great, gutty win by the Jacksonville Jaguars. And all you heard from the Steelers all week, we want the rematch with Jacksonville. We want another shot at New England. Chirping, 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 chirping. And how bad was the Pittsburgh Steelers defense in this game? A team that prides itself on defense, a city that prides itself on defense, and they played one of the worst defensive games I've ever seen. I know Shazier is hurt, and once Shazier got hurt, the Steelers went from a good defensive team to an atrocious defensive team just like that. They got carved up by Baltimore. They got carved up by New England. They got carved up by the Browns, and they got carved up here. They couldn't stop Jacksonville all day. Fournette for 5. Fournette for 6. Play action pass to the tight end, touchdown. Bortles, deep pass over the middle, caught. Bortles scrambling, first down. Bortles screen pass, 50 yards downfield. The Steelers couldn't get Jacksonville off the field. Jacksonville converted on a lot of third downs. What an atrocious, embarrassing, gutless defensive performance by the Steelers, and we've seen this all too often recently with the Steelers defense. They can't get a turnover in a big spot. They can't make a stop in a big spot. And they're drafting every year heavy on the defensive end, and they still can't figure it out. And I know Shazier is hurt, and that's a major loss. He's a great player. That is a loss. But he's one player. You can't let your whole defense fall apart. New England lost players. Did they fall apart? Minnesota lost players. Did they fall apart? Philadelphia lost players, including their quarterback. Are they still playing? Find a way to get it done. And why did the Steelers release Harrison? He couldn't help this defense? Could have been any worse. Could have been any worse. They got carved up. Every time the Steelers scored, Jacksonville came right down and stuffed the ball right down the Steelers' throat. That was a gutless performance by the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. They should be embarrassed, and they better fix that defense soon. Roethlisberger only has a couple more years of playing. I mean, he's going to play next year. Who knows how long he has? You have to fix this defense somehow, some way. This was an atrocious job by the Steelers. They gave up 45 points in their building to a team that scored 10 points last week. Pittsburgh scored 42 points at home and lost. And what is Tomlin doing at the end of the game? Steelers cut the lead to 7. Over 2 minutes to go. You have a 2 timeouts and a 2-minute warning. Why did he try that onside kick? That was a terrible decision. The execution was even worse. The ball went 5 yards, hit a steal, and they got a penalty. And Jacksonville was already in field goal range. What was Tomlin doing there? Kick the ball deep. Jacksonville's going to be conservative. They're going to run 3 plays up the middle. Take your chances that you can stop them and get the ball back. That just shows you how bad the Steelers defense is, that Tomlin didn't even think they could stop them once there. That he had to try an onside kick. The Steelers haven't got an onside kick in 11 years. Thought that was a terrible decision by Tomlin. And I don't want to blame this whole game on Tomlin. I don't. I'm not one of these guys that says, fire Tomlin, fire Tomlin. Tomlin's going to be the coach. And I'm not going to blame the Steelers' offense. I know they had a couple turnovers. I know they missed a couple fourth downs. They scored 42 points. This was on the Steeler defense. They were shredded in this game. They couldn't stop Jacksonville at all. No matter what Jacksonville did, they converted. This was on the Steeler defense. Make no mistake about it. Deplorable defensive effort by the Pittsburgh Steelers. They should hang their head in shame. I don't want to take anything away from Jacksonville. It's a gutty, tremendous win. Great job by them. As far as this game, listen, this is much like last week's game when I said Tennessee's not quite ready for New England. Jacksonville's had a remarkable year. They've taken a major step forward. I don't think they're ready to go into New England and beat the Patriots and get to the Super Bowl. And that's not a knock on Jacksonville. That's how much I respect New England. New England won't do what Pittsburgh did. New England won't turn the ball over. New England won't let Jacksonville carve them up. New England's not giving up 45 points in their building. They are not giving up 45 points to Jacksonville in their building. New England will find a way to shut down Fournette. They'll find a way to force Bortles into some turnovers. New England will get their points. Jacksonville's not ready for this. They're not ready to get to the Super Bowl right now. This is New England's time. You know they're money in this spot. They've been to, 7 straight championship games. They're getting to the Super Bowl again. Jacksonville's dream season ends. They have a bright future. New England gets it done. I like New England on the money line or a teaser -3. Even if you like them at 9, I could probably see that. Me personally, money line teaser at 3. It's the way I go. Somehow, some way, New England's getting to the Super Bowl. I like New England. That's pick number 1. Pick number 2. Let's get to the NFC Championship game down in Philadelphia. Those great fans down in Philly, they're so rowdy. I love them down there. Where the Minnesota Vikings are -3.5 at the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles hung on and beat Atlanta. Nice gutty win by the Eagles. Oh, Atlanta, another punch in the gut loss. They had the blown Super Bowl last year, and this game that was right there for them. Couldn't get the ball in the end zone. They're deep in Philadelphia territory. 4 plays, can't get it done. I did not like any of the 4 plays Atlanta ran there. I didn't like the play calling at all. I didn't like the rollout on the last play at all. This was another punch in the gut loss for the Falcons and their fans. This game was right there for the taking. The Falcons keep preaching about finishing. They're going to have to start finishing some of these games. They have the talent in Atlanta. They have a good young team. They're going to be back next year. Got to start finishing some of these games. They couldn't finish the Super Bowl last year. Couldn't finish this one off. Another punch in the gut loss for the Falcons, but a gutty win for the Eagles without having their quarterback. Let's keep that in mind. They don't have Wentz, and they still found a way to win. Nice job by the Eagles. And Minnesota, a miracle win for the ages, a game we'll never forget. I've never seen anything like it. Now, Minnesota fans are sitting there going, the football gods owed us one. Because Minnesota has taken so many heartbreaking losses in the playoffs. Missed field goals, chip shot field goals. Minnesota has suffered a lot with bad losses. So Minnesota's saying the football gods owed us one. And you got one, because Minnesota was on death's door. They were on death's door, and this is a crushing loss for the Saints. I mean, they had this game sewn up, and they let it slip away. I mean, what a terrible loss by the Saints. I mean, this is an improbable win by the Vikings. Once the Saints took the lead, a couple plays that are forgotten about. The Saints, when they took the lead, they had a 3rd and 1 before they took the lead. If they would have converted that 3rd and 1, Minnesota never gets the ball back. That was a big stop for Minnesota. That's one play. Then when Minnesota gets the ball back, they start at their 25. They get a full start. They're back to their 20. First play, they hit the ball up to the 40. I thought that was terrible defense by New Orleans right there. You cannot, in that spot, let them hit a nice 20-yard play and call timeout. Because once you get up to the 40, you're in range now to maybe get in field goal range or throw a miracle pass. Once you get up that close, things can happen. And you leave any amount of time on the clock in the NFL these days, you are setting yourself up to lose. I remember a few years ago, Matt Ryan for the Falcons was deep in his own end with very little time left, and in 2 plays got into field goal range. You leave any time left in the NFL, you're asking for it. Saints had a 3rd and 1. They didn't convert. That would have kept Minnesota's offense off the field the rest of the game. They don't get that. They do kick the field goal. Then Minnesota hits that pass to the 40. I thought that was terrible defense right there. Then after a couple incompletions, the final play of the game. Now listen, everyone's going to talk about the missed tackle and the whiff. And listen, that was deplorable. And that was just awful technique, and everything was bad about that. I have more of a problem that Diggs was so wide open to begin with. They let him get wide open. I'm thinking when I see the play developing, he's going to catch the ball, get out of bounds, they're going to kick a long field goal. I couldn't believe with all those defensive backs, back there, that they let him that wide open to begin with. You're asking for trouble when you play that kind of defense. Because if he catches that ball, there's no guarantee he's going to be tackled in bounds there. Now listen, a good tackler tackles him right there, the game's over. There's a chance he makes that catch and he gets over to the sidelines and gets out of bounds and they kick a game-winning field goal anyway. So I thought that was terrible defense by the Saints. You let the Vikings on 2 plays get from their 20 all the way down, from their 21st to their 40, and then that play that wins the game for them. On 2 plays, where was the defense there? Oh, the Saints' defense was atrocious there in all aspects. You're dropping all those guys back and you let that guy go over there that wide open? That's terrible. And then the cherry on top is just a whiff and all that, but terrible. So the plays to me that I've forgotten about, Saints 3rd and 1 before they kicked the field goal to put them in the lead. They could have got a first down there and kept Minnesota's offense off the field for the rest of the game. They can't convert. And then Minnesota getting from the 20 to the 40 on the first play was huge. And then the last play, not only the whiff, but that he's so wide open there. He's wide open. He's got a chance to catch the ball, maybe break a tackle and get out of bounds and kick a long field goal. Can't let him that wide open. That soft defense. The Saint defense was improved this year. They drafted well, but they were lost in that spot. And the Saints had just taken a time out. That was a terrible loss for Drew Brees and a miracle win for the Vikings. The football gods gave one back to the Vikings here. So now the Vikings have new life. Remember, the Super Bowl is in Minnesota. If Minnesota finds a way to beat Philadelphia, they'll be hosting the Super Bowl. This game, again, going back to last week. What did I say last week? Atlanta was 3.5 point favorite in Philadelphia. What did I say? I said the game's going to be close. I said anytime I took a good team and I got that amount of points in a teaser, I ended up winning each and every time. To me, the way to play this game, you move the line to 9.5, you take Philadelphia. You got the home field, you have 9.5 points. Philadelphia's got a good team. I know we're all talking about Foles and how he's going to go against that Minnesota defense, but Philadelphia's got a good team around them. They got a good running game. They got a good defense. Even if you think Minnesota can win, and I can surely see that. I can definitely see Minnesota winning. You have to think the game's going to be low-scoring and close, don't you? You have to think it's going to be a defensive, low-scoring battle. And if it's going to be that low-scoring and defensive, 9.5 points is a boatload, especially when you're getting, home field as well. So to me, listen, if you like Minnesota straight up, couldn't argue with you. Couldn't argue with you. I said that last week about Atlanta. But to me, the way to play the game is 9.5 taking Philly at home. Now listen, am I all that confident that Foles is going to play well against that Minnesota defense? No, he could throw 4 picks. Minnesota defense is really good, although they showed some cracks in the 4th quarter. But remember, that's against Drew Brees. Drew Brees is a Hall of Famer. So I definitely think the way to go here, Philadelphia 9.5 at home to at least keep it close. It's that kind of game. I feel more confident in the AFC picking New England than I do in this NFC game. This NFC game is so tricky because of the quarterbacks. You have the backups playing for both teams. You just don't know what you're going to get here. It's a very strange game. Kind of like the Atlanta-Philadelphia game, and it played out that way. I think the same type of deal here. Low-scoring, defensive game. So I'll take Philly in the 9.5 just to keep it close. That's the way I see the games going this weekend. Should be some very interesting football. You guys stay happy, healthy, and safe. Pick a lot of winners. Make a lot of money. Hope you guys are enjoying your holiday weekend. I'll talk to you guys next week as we will be getting ready for the Super Bowl. Talk to you then. Take care.